A new role for Riismandel. From the Gold Coast hinterland, the latest from Podnews.net with Magellan AI, helping you build your podcast ad plan. We start with an exclusive today. Paul Riismandel has joined Signal Hill Insights as the company's Chief Insights Officer. One of the first researchers in podcast advertising, Riismandel had worked with Midroll Media, acquired by SiriusXM, since 2014, working on hundreds of ad effectiveness studies. He's written a blog post for his new employer, highlighting the benefit of third-party research. Magellan AI has updated the Podscape, the overview of all the companies involved in the podcast industry. Edison Research released its ranker for US top podcast genres for the period of October 2021 to September 2022. Comedy remains at number 1. News has dipped to number 3, behind Society and Culture. Podcast Movement Evolutions has announced a third set of speakers. Amongst those announced, Dan Granger from Oxford Road will discuss brand suitability, and Podnews will be there too. Kids' podcasts have a hidden advantage over podcasts for grown-ups, says the CEO of Tumble Media, Lindsay Patterson. She posts about the medium's capability to find new revenue sources and reach new audiences. Happy, Sad, Confused, a celebrity interview podcast with Josh Horowitz, has signed a partnership with Cast Media to market, distribute and monetize the show. Riverside has added a video editor to their remote recording tool and a way to edit transcriptions. And Val-E is the latest artificial voice generator tool built by Microsoft. And thank you to Stephanie Arakalian and to Alicia McKay for becoming our latest personal supporters. We're super grateful for you for your support of our work. In People News today, Jeremiah Crow has been hired as Director of Operations for Blue Wire. Crow will manage production, sales, promotion, events and marketing related to the Blue Wire studios in Las Vegas. And in podcast news, Media Roundtable this week looks at the future of podcasting this year. Oxford Road's Dan Granger and Jennifer Lane are joined by a number of guests, including me. Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucomfleckens launched yesterday, finding the weirdest, quirkiest, most shocking and unexpectedly hilarious medical stories. Hosted by Dr. Will Flannery, otherwise known on social media as Dr. Glaucomflecken, and his wife Kristin. The show's trailer has already had more than 100,000 downloads. Sound Judgment returns for a second season today. The show explores the craft of podcast hosting, asking what does it take to become a beloved podcast host. The first guest is Snap Judgment host Glyn Washington, and the season also includes Jay Baer, Juleka Lantiga and Jodie Krangle. And Land of the Giants returns for 7th season today, looking at the multi-billion-dollar dating app industry. The Cut and the Verge worked on the new series, which suggests that the apps are the problem, not the people who use them. This podcast is sponsored by Magellan AI. Every month, Magellan AI works out the top spenders in podcasting, as well as those making big moves in their podcast ad budget. So who will be last month's top advertisers? You can be the first to find out in their free webinar. You can register now at magellan.ai. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.